there in YouTube land. This is Rapmastayoda from Dark Lords. Very excited to be coming at you guys today with my first ever roster review. So a friend of mine here, Sith Lord 666, reached out to me, asked me to do a roster review for him. I was very flattered to have the opportunity. It's definitely my pleasure to take a look at this and see if I can help him out. He had some questions about Arena specifically, so we're really just going to stick to Arena team type information in this roster review. Just trying to help bump up his score. As you can see right now, he's sitting in 37. He's hovering between the 20s and the 30s. He was in the top 10. He wants to get back there, so we're going to take a quick look at his stuff and see what he can do. So first off, we're still running a Maul lead team. I think this is totally fine right now. Some people have kind of gotten away from it, but I will tell you that I've got certain friends, one particular YouTuber by the name of Reggae Dragon. He's definitely still tearing it up in one of the most competitive shards I know of on YouTube with a Maul lead team, so I think that's totally fine. So kind of a couple things. Let's just take a quick look down at the profile page to see what we see, and then go from there and then jump into some specifics on the team. So first off, I think you got a very impressive page here so far. You're up over 70% on your collection score. You've got 22 characters at Gear 11, which we definitely like to see. A high number of Gear 11s is great. But I will tell you what's really impressing me here is that you got 20 at Gear 10 as well. A lot of people will max out the Gear 11s, but not really be working and spreading the love around on the roster. So I think that's totally awesome that you've got that. You can see that we've got almost 60 characters 7-starred. Again, that's great, man. I hope that this larger roster is really going to fare well for you in the new Territory Battles mode. But again, your questions were on Arena, so let's take a look at it. We're going to scroll down a little bit here, kind of take a look at your trend line. We're jumping a little bit all over the place, which shows to me that maybe defensively we're having a little bit of instability, and your climb each day is a little bit different. So I'm going to give you some things to focus on, give you what my take on your situation is, and hopefully it can help. So first off, let's jump over here to the characters, take a look at what you got going on, and see who these Gear 11s are. So real quick off the top, I can tell that you've been focusing quite a bit on raids, which is awesome. Looks like you're probably posting some pretty sick scores. So again, we don't need to talk about that. Let's take a look at what we can do with Arena. So the way that I'm seeing it is, I think that you're using some of the correct characters that you need to be using. And at this point, you have two choices. And the cool thing is, from a gear and mod standpoint, I think that both teams are great ideas for you in the metagame that you described to me, which is a whole lot of Rex, Triple Cleanse type teams. But they use the same characters as far as gear and mods that you need to be using. So option one is to stick with what you're doing, which is a Maul lead. I think that's totally fine. We'll get into some specifics on how to buff that team up for you and change up the composition a little bit to what I think is going to be a little more effective for you. Or what we can take a look at is a Darth Nihilus lead, because I see that you've got both Palpatine and Dooku at Gear 11, which are kind of mainstays for this Darth Nihilus team that I've been running in Arena. So what I'm going to do is, in the comments, I'm going to put a link to a video. You should be able to link from that video to others, my series on that Darth Nihilus team. And then also I'm going to link to one of Reggae Dragon's videos that's going to kind of show you this Maul team as well. So taking a look at your Nihilus down there, he's 6-star, Gear 11. He's definitely in position to be in Arena. You're already using him. So it's just a question of whether we want to use the Nihilus leadership ability or the Maul leadership ability. So we'll come back to that in just a minute after I talk about what I want to do, because both of the characters that I want you to focus on to bolster your Arena score are going to be incorporated into either team, so it's really not going to matter. The first thing that I noticed looking at your current Arena lineup is your mods, and I think that you've got a lot of great mods. I've looked through your mod sets. Looks like you've been collecting them and stocking them up for a while. I think you've got some great stuff going on, but currently you're not quite maximizing your potential. So looking at just a couple of your characters that are in Arena right now, these are guys we're talking about using. Here's a great example, like this circle mod here. on Darth Nihilus. If you've got the offense sets open, you can get a way better mod in this place and really help you out. What I'd really like to see is a protection primary, which is going to bolster this almost 40,000 protection we've got. I try to generally get both Nihilus and Kenobi up over 50,000 protection in these type of teams. I think that that's a good target point for you. And then eventually in game, I'd like to see both of them at 60,000 protection for you. That makes them really annoying, really hard to deal with, and then we can get in there. Now, looking at your speed here, we're doing pretty decent on speed. It's kind of a little bit of a give or take with the survivability versus the speed on this character, but over time with good mod sets and proper modding, we can get you up into the teens or even up to 220 and still get you over that 50,000 protection, which I think is great. I think that's a focus point for Nihilus individually. That's where you need to be. And then we'll jump over here to Kenobi. Also, check it out. So we're running like a mid 170 speed. I think that that's totally fine. But again, I think the survivability is a little low, especially on this team composition that you're running. He's going to be taunting a lot if you're getting hit by criticals. He's going to be absorbing a lot of damage for you. So you want to make sure that he sticks around long enough so that we can take advantage of his cleanse, of his retribution, and his lead the charge ability, where he's going to get that team attack and really give you some DPS. Jumping back to Maul, we'll take a look at him. Maul is definitely a little bit more of a squishy character. Here your speed is a little bit low, so I think speed, survivability, and then maxing out his offense is where it's going to be. So as far as where we need to go, I think we need to take a look at your mods and what to do with them. But for the teams that I'm going to talk to you about, I think that if you stick with the Maul lead, you're pretty close to the lineup that you need. But I think we need to get rid of Kylo, and I think we need to take a look at Sith Assassin and put her into that lineup. Now, a lot of people, especially with the Maul teams and the turn meter boost, really want to run this super fast Sith Assassin and get her really moving fast so she can boost the whole team. I don't think that's the approach that you want. I want to make her a hard-hitting machine that's really going to put some DPS on your team, and we're going to talk about how to do that with your mods that you've got right now here in just a second. But looking at her there at the bottom of the screen, she's Gear 9, 4-star. So you're going to need to farm a little bit of shards from her. Not a big deal. They're in Cantina battles, so that's not bad. She's a Gear 9. Now, the other character that I want you to focus on leveling up is Kenobi here. You've got him at Gear 10. Both of these guys need several stun cuffs and or Chedak comlinks, so you're going to kind of be in a little bit of a gear crunch on the stun cuffs with these two characters. But the good news is that's really all I want you to focus on gear. Now we're going to talk a little bit about the mod. So if you want to stay with the Maul lead, what I did was I took two different potential kind of mod sets, and what I really want to do is talk about Sith Assassin and how we can really bolster Sith Assassin. So I've taken a look at your critical damage and your critical chance mods, and I think that potentially we've got two really good sets that are on other characters that you're not even using in Arena right now. So for Sith Assassin, I wanted to concentrate on these highlighted offense secondaries and get as many of those on her as we can. So if you can see these top three mods, this plus 30 speed with 107 offense, this defense with plus 88, this protection circle with plus 81, and then this square with plus 67. I think that that's going to give you a really good critical damage set, and then we can pair that with a couple of our mods here. So the ones that we used, we've got the arrow, diamond, circle, and square covered. So now we need to find a triangle and a cross that are going to fit in it. So let's take a look at the critical damage mods so we can pair this critical damage set, or I'm sorry, this critical chance set with the critical damage set. So you can see we've got a couple different options, but mostly it looks like that our two best choices are probably going to be this potency cross and this defense triangle. Now the defense I'm not super in love with, but it does have a pretty high one. Actually, no, I'm sorry, I totally lied. The triangle we need to be using is this one over here. I apologize. So you've got plus 36 critical damage, 62 offense, and then we've got a 24% potency cross with another 45 offense. offense. I think that's really going to pump up her stats. She's going to be hard hitting, and there's going to be a lot of scenarios where you're going to be able to one-shot a character with full health and full protection because her Thunderbolt, Shock, whatever it's called, ability is able to ignore that protection, go straight for the health, and take out a character. Like if you've just removed the taunt from Baze and you need to drop a Rex real quick, or you need to drop a Chariot real quick, she can shoot that lightning bolt and knock them out in one hit with that. So that's what we're going to take a look at on Sith Assassin. And then let's jump over here. If we stay with the Maul lead, what I want to do is go with the same kind of setup where we're using a critical damage set with a critical chance set. But instead of focusing on offense secondaries, I want to focus on speed secondaries, which you've got a lot of nice ones in the critical damage and critical chance set. So what we're going to do is, again, kind of look at where the highest ones are. So we've got a couple squares to start and choose from. I think just going for the max speed here is going to be pretty good. But I do want to note that this one that you've got on Phasma, the 10 speed plus the 34 offense, we want both of these guys to hit really hard, so I'm okay sacrificing that 2 speed to get that 34 offense there. So I would probably start with that square. Then we've got this protection circle that's got 10 speed, so there's plus 20 right there. I know this is taken away from potentially some raid type teams because some of this stuff's on Darth Vader, but we want to get you maximizing your crystal intake. Then you can farm more mods and you can replace these for your raid guys later. So let's go with the 10 speed square and the 10 speed circle. Then we look down here, we've got a diamond that's got 9 speed on it, and then we've also got this tenacity cross which has 9 speed on it. I think that is kind of a fine set to get you started with there. So there's your critical damage set, and let's jump over here to your critical chance sets. So we did not use an arrow, so we could potentially use a 30 speed arrow if you've got one. And then we also need a triangle in this case. So let's take a look. Let's go for the triangle first because you've probably got less of those. So it's looking like we don't have a triangle that you can use. So let's just find a triangle that fits the critical damage, or I'm sorry, the critical chance guideline, and then we can take a look at some of these other mods. Do we have the 30 speed arrow? Alright, so let's jump back over here. I think on the critical damage we may need to try to find a 30 speed arrow and then a high speed secondary on a triangle and swap some of this stuff out. But either way, you can see what I'm getting at, Sith Lord, is that you've got great mods here. We just need to get the great mods into your arena team so that you can start pounding on people and taking advantage of them. So kind of back to the character screen and talking about these two different teams, what their advantages and disadvantages are. So obviously if you stick with the Maul lead, you're already used to the Maul lead. You know the mechanics a little bit better. Like I said, I think if we get Kylo out of there and we put this hard-hitting Sith Assassin in there, it's really going to bolster your team. You're going to be able to cut through some of these more defensive-based kind of control-y squads with the Rex and the triple cleanse and whatnot. Or if we switch over to this Darth Nihilus lead, I think you're also going to have an added ability to cut through. Same thing, we've got this hard-hitting Sith Assassin. Now, for the Nihilus lead, we probably want to maybe ease off the offense just a little bit, try to get her a little extra protection, which you do have some great high protection secondaries, so I think this team is also a really good choice for you. So we can run Nihilus, Palpatine, Dooku, Sith Assassin, and Kenobi. I think that's great. You've got some cleanse, you've got some possibility for some retribution in there, you've got Sith Assassin possibly one-shotting people, you've got a lot of DPS out of Palpatine, and then you've got just a great counter-strike plus health steal ability in Count Dooku, and that's what really makes that team function. Darth Nihilus plus Dooku makes a really good team. I call it the Nuku combo. I'll link to a video below. I did 3 videos on this arena team. I love it so much. I think it's a great choice. Either one of these is going to give you the ability to cut through on offense and then should definitely hold a little bit better on defense. I will tell you that modded correctly, either one should hold about the same. but I think that there's a chance that your Maul team with the mods that I'm seeing that you have may be the better choice for you. As big a fan of Nihilus lead with Dooku that I am, I gotta say that from what I've seen out of Reggae Dragon stuff and putting the same team together for you, I think it's going to be a great choice for you. I would probably prioritize staying with the Maul lead, especially since you're experienced with it. And then just know that you can have the Nihilus lead on tap. Now, one thing I do want to point out with the Nihilus lead is if you set it up pretty decently, you can just absolutely clobber Galactic War with it. So that's a good little note for you. You do have the characters, so if you want to put Galactic War on easy mode, set up that Nihilus lead. But I think for Arena, either choice is totally fine again. But I'm going to say maybe you should go with the Maul lead. Stick with what you're already doing. Let's go ahead. Let's gear up Sith Assassin. Let's get her to 11. Let's gear up Kenobi. Let's get him to 11. And then let's really, really work on these mods, man. Again, going through your mods, I see a lot of great stuff. I think you've got an awesome mod collection for where you're at in the game. That's not to say that you should not keep farming mods. You can always make them better. You can always get higher speed secondaries or higher offense secondaries. But as far as formulating a 5-man team that's really going to function in Arena and be dominant and let you be in top 10, top 5, top 3, I think you've got the mods to do that. I'd love if you have some video footage. If you can give me some video footage after you put this together, send it back. Let's take a look at it, see how it's working. I'd love to do kind of a follow-up feature on this. If you have any specific questions, get with me on Discord. I'd love to talk this out a little bit more in depth with you, but I wanted to give you the video review where we can take a look at the GG together and you can kind of watch me go through it in real time. So I've had a ton of fun with this. Thanks again for reaching out to me, Sith Lord. It was a pleasure to do this. I hope that the rest of the guys that are watching this really enjoy it, and hopefully this leads to some insight for your personal Arena situation. If you guys would like a roster review, there will be a link in the comment section. I'm sorry, not the comments, but the description section of the video for my Discord server. Please join that Discord server. Reach out to me. Tell me that you're interested in a roster review. I'd also like to say thank you to Reggae Dragon. He contributed some of the information that we've talked about here as far as the mods and how to set that up, where he's familiar with that Maul lead team. So thank you, Reggae. He's one of our contributors on that Discord server. So if you're into Maul lead teams, we've got a great resource there on the server. Plus you've got access to me as well as several other content creators and distinguished guests that are there to put in information and basically help me answer your guys' questions. So if you want a roster review, get in there, reach out to me. If you just want to be part of a cool Discord community, get in there as well. This has been totally fun. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. Please forgive all the stuttering and stammering. Thanks for sitting through it. Like, subscribe, and share.